The way Pakistan has emerged as a key diplomatic intermediary in the US-Iran conflict is unprecedented. And now they are brokering Iran with other nations, Turkey and China, temporary ceasefire talks which are going to take place in Islamabad. It's going to be called Islamabad Accord, and the entire credit is being taken by Mr. Munir and Shahbaz Sharif. How has this happened? How has China supported them? And the important thing is that this de-escalation plan puts Islamabad in middle of this entire West Asia war. I am not having a FOMO, India doesn't need to prove itself. But what I want to know from my guest is what makes Pakistan important in the scheme of things. There are a lot of people, a lot of experts say that one, Pakistan is doing it because 20% of the population of Pakistan is Shia. Second, it has a 900-kilometer border with Iran because Baloch are on both sides of the border, so it needs to do something. Third, it is very badly affected by war, so it also needs to take care of it. Fourth, it also needs to balance China with America, so that is also a compulsion which Pakistan faces. Fifth, it also wants to be in the good books of America. So all these dimensions are there. When we talk about Pakistan, they need to be in the middle of this. But for Pakistan to manage GCC countries and Iran to have that sole communication line intact is something which I am going to decode with my experts. Ambassador Dayal, how has this happened? How come this sponsor of terrorism has become so important there, sir?
Well, the speculation is that Pakistan is doing all this at the behest of someone. Now, many analysts feel that Pakistan is being guided by China, and Pakistan is beholden to China, and China is not happy with this conflict because, after all, Iran was China's friend all along, and if Iran is being hurt so badly, China wants to end it. But my feeling is that Pakistan is doing this at the orders of the United States. It is the United States which wants to somehow end the war, and it is using the services of Pakistan as a go-between, because Pakistan is, of course, Iran's neighbor, and Trump feels that Asim Munir owes him a lot and should now act at his behest or on his orders to mediate, or at least be a postman to carry orders, to carry the proposals to and from Washington and Tehran. Now, let me also mention that in this entire scenario, a very important factor is overlooked, and that is that Israel is also a party to the conflict. Now, Pakistan has not recognized Israel. Pakistan does not have diplomatic relations with Israel, and Israel is not likely to accept any sort of mediation which the Pakistanis try to engage in. Of course, Pakistan's international credibility is very low. It is widely regarded, as you pointed out, as a sponsor of terrorism. Then also, in the Gulf countries, which are also now parties to the conflict, Pakistan is considered a country which always approaches them with a begging bowl. So the joke around is that Pakistan is trying to mediate, but then to each party it's saying, but you must give us some dollars. So Pakistan is in that sort of a situation where anything it does is not credible. And in this particular scenario, it is trying to act as a mediator or as a go-between because somebody has asked it to do so. And in all likelihood, to me, it appears that somebody is the United States of America.
You're saying, sir, it's the United States of America. A lot of people was saying that maybe it is China. So, Professor Swaran Singh, why United States of America and why no China here? Because Pakistan is one country which gets best from both China and United States of America, depending on the time and situation. 80s, it was United States of America. Then, it became China. Maybe again, it will become United States of America.
Let me shift the lens from power and influence of United States, the way of approaching Pakistan, to compulsions of President Trump making him approach Pakistan. Simple question, who are the friends that President Trump has around the world, having annoyed almost everyone around the world. So his favorite field marshal was the only option that President Trump had if he had to approach someone to mediate this kind of possibility of a ceasefire. And you remember during the first term, President Trump had been extremely nasty to Pakistan. But Pakistan this time was quick to act. As soon as the swearing in took place last year, Pakistan in March itself offered, having captured a suspect who was involved in bombing of Kabul during the exit of American forces, bombing that had killed 170 plus Afghan soldiers and about 13 to 15 American soldiers. That was the beginning of change. And then, of course, as soon as Operation Sindoor happened, again, Pakistan approached President Trump to, help them and immediately credited, and that is something President Trump liked. This was followed by the crypto deal and so on. And that made Asim Munir the only army chief in history to be invited, to White House instead of being accompanied by head of state or head of government. And that has made Asim Munir the favorite field marshal, as President Trump likes to say that. China facilitated because Iran wouldn't trust Pakistan, but Chinese, who are beneficiaries of 80% of Iranian oil going to them, participated in convincing Iran to engage in this conversation and make it possible. And President Trump himself has also acknowledged the role that China played in this. So I suppose it was, to me, compulsion-driven exercise rather than influence-driven exercise that made it possible that Pakistan was able to become the mediator. Of course, Pakistan had claimed last week also that delegation from US and Iran is going to come to Islamabad. This time again, the tweet from Shehbaz Sharif says that Iran has already confirmed to come to Islamabad on Friday, and the United States is planning to send someone. So to me, it's not so much power influence-driven exercise that makes Pakistan significant.
No, I said, I confessed. I confessed I'm not having any FOMO. As a journalist, I'm not having FOMO. Pakistan can do whatever it wants. General Yahya Khan, he brokered a deal between Kissinger and Beijing, and within 6 months, the Pakistan broke into two pieces. History is there, so I don't have any FOMO. But what intrigues me is that Pakistan wages a war in Afghanistan, Pakistan wages a war against India in Kashmir. So the man in the middle of it, we have to be pretty emotionless about it, is Field Marshal Asim Munir. After that, the things have changed. So, General Kulkarni, I want you to break down, are we dealing with someone different this time? There have been many generals who have come and gone in Pakistan. Is he a different chap?
Kartikeya, America always believed in a one-point contact. That one-point contact in Pakistan has always been their chief of the army staff. And in this present case, it's the field marshal, who is the chief of the defense forces, a one-point contact, a go-getter who would want to do anything. And that is the reason why he again is a go-getter to be able to do between what America expects of him to be doing it with Iran. If Americans can put a terrorist as the president of Syria, the Americans also have past experience, again as a coincidence, in 1973, when Israel was in trouble. It was Golda Meir who rang up Nixon and they got immediate help. And from Yom Kippur, from defeat, it was into victory. Similarly, now we had the PM Netanyahu telling the American president, right now we have to attack. And they did. And they come to the help. And again, as luck would have it, fortunately or unfortunately, it is the same Pakistan which helped America in 1970s with China. The same Pakistan again becomes a go-getter between Iran. Because there is no other option for Americans. They need a one-point contact. Can anybody else do that work, what the Pakistanis can do? Nobody probably would want to. And as the ambassador rightly said, Pakistan is not, has never ever recognized Israel. So that again goes in favor of Iran, because Iran and Pakistan and Israel have never been able to see eye to eye, because Iran, right from the time of Khomeini's time and Khomeini's time, have been saying they need to wipe out Israel from the map of the earth. So with that hate Israel, hate America, at this point of time, I thought the Americans probably would want him And who better than Pakistan, deep in economic crisis? UAE wants its money back immediately, $3.5 billion that they have it. The IMF is after them, $7.5 billion return. So there is a lot that Pakistan would expect Americans to help, and the Americans will definitely help Pakistan. That there is no doubt. Whatever Trump might have said, that the Pakistanis have made a fool of him, but it doesn't really make any difference to them as long as they are the ones who would help Pakistan, America achieve what they wanted. And the only question is China. The Chinese are looking at it because they have had a deal with Iran for $400 billion for 25 years for the sale of oil. If that sale of oil of Iran, which was still now restricted only to 1.5 million barrels per day to China, would definitely go up. And that is what China wants it. And China would much want to use Pakistan, and Pakistan would very much would want to be used, get used either by America or China in that context.
Okay. Ambassador Dayal?
One quick point. You know, Pakistan has a great stake in stopping this war. As we all know, Pakistan has a mutual defense pact with Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
And this war is dragging in Saudi Arabia now in a bigger and bigger way. And there is a likelihood that if the war doesn't stop, then the Saudis will say to Pakistan, you have a mutual defense pact with us, now come and fight on our side. Which means that Pakistan will get dragged into this war. It doesn't want to, and that's one very serious reason why Pakistan is keen to mediate somehow and end this war.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you all of you.